has been able to receive out of people who have defamed him. YouTube, 25 million, Meta, 25 million, X, 10 million, 16 million out of CBS, and 16 million out of ABC News and Disney. So he's not giving up on it. And I think he's doing a service to the country when he does this. I don't think it's just about him. He's saying the media, and he said this since the beginning with fake news, right? That's the...
Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Stinchfield. I'd like to issue a warning tonight. The Democrats are trying to distract you. What are they trying to distract you with? Well, of course, the Epstein files and all of these emails. They release a few. The Republicans say, no, we won't just release a few. We'll release all of them. And then you get to comb through them. And the Democrats go crazy over this when these emails prove nothing. In fact, in many respects, I've gone through a lot of these emails. I think it vindicates President Trump and any ties he may have had to Epstein, that there was no wrongdoing there at all. See, what the Democrats did the day after President Trump and the Republicans ended the shutdown is the Democrats want to turn to Epstein to distract you from the real truth, that the Democrats are imploding. They are a party filled with radicals that is engaging in the behavior of saboteurs of America. There isn't anything to see in the Epstein files, and if anything, it proves to me that President Trump is innocent of everything, just as we had always expected. Here's Caroline Levitt.
These emails prove absolutely nothing other than the fact that President Trump did nothing wrong. And what President Trump has always said is that he was from Palm Beach, and so was Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein was a member at Mar-a-Lago until President Trump kicked him out because Jeffrey Epstein was a pedophile and he was a creep.
You hear that one little part there about how President Trump kicked Epstein out? If you want to take innuendo from these Epstein emails, I actually think there's a chance President Trump actually was the whistleblower to the FBI. President Trump may have helped the FBI go after Jeffrey Epstein, but that's not the narrative that the mainstream media wants you to know, that President Trump would be a hero in all of this. That's the innuendo that I take away from it all.
Well, Mr. Two Parts, what is that racist Trump doing again? Well, he just directed $500 million into HBCUs. Now, peep this. Trump can't run again. He's already won. He don't need black votes. He don't need black votes. He don't need blacks to like him. He's watching blacks say they hate him, and he still directs $500 million into HBCUs. Man, Trump is such a racist guy. Why would he give HBCUs $500 million and don't need blacks right now? Lord have mercy.
So I thought it would be fun to highlight just how much money our Democratic members of Congress receive from insurance companies and companies associated with the ACA and Obamacare in the form of donations and super PACs to fund their campaigns and line their pockets. Now, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of profit margin that these insurance companies are making on the backs of hardworking Americans while they keep hiking up our insurance rates and denying us coverage every chance they get. But there's enough profit to go around to line the pockets of these members of Congress to make sure that those members of Congress vote on their behalf and not ours. So if you're anything like me, you are sick and tired of hearing the lies and the bullshit that they keep feeding us. Hey, guess what, Congress? Get to work and open up this freaking government, because there are people that are busting their ass and not getting paid.
Who am I here with?
My name is Norman Robbins, and I'm not your grandpa.
Awesome. I love that.
So do I.
What are you doing at the Republic Square right now?
I came to find a young mentally retarded woman that I was with yesterday, who I gave a bath and gave some clothes to. She's supposed to be sitting right here with one of my bags and a man named Adam.
Norman, are people disappearing?
Not here, as far as I know yet. They are in Houston.
Why are people disappearing in Houston?
They're being sold, sir. They're being trafficked to other countries.
Homeless people?
Yes, absolutely. Some of them are not homeless. They're just in the wrong place at the wrong time and they become homeless.
That's interesting. Do you mind stepping up a little for me?
Whatever you want.
Norman, Did you just come from Houston, or how do you know that?
I got from Houston. I arrived here August the 10th. I arrived in Houston on July 3rd, which was my birthday. Had some business meetings. On July 10th, I was robbed and beaten by some, what I like to call, zombies. The Walking Dead is real in Houston, downtown, as it used to be here in Austin in 2021. You can ask the next question, or I can keep talking.
I just ran into a guy whose half his friends just disappeared in the last 2 days.
I believe it.
And that's kind of my main, I think, quest today, is to figure out what's going on. Why are people disappearing?
It's what they're smoking, sir. They call it tune. It's actually been sent to a chemist friend of mine. It's LSD 25 hard. What's being done, as far to the best of my knowledge, is being dissolved in mineral water. They're buying OG Kush so they can call it OG Kush. They're rolling small joints. They're dipping it in the LSD. They're cutting it into quarter-inch sections and selling it to people for $5. If you should smoke that whole quarter-inch, you're taking anywhere from 50 to 100 hits of acid at once. I have seen men older than me fold in half like a paper clip. That same man died 2 nights later. Everybody called him Pops. He had a big gray beard and 2 German Shepherds.
How long you been out on the streets for, sir?
This time, since the 10th of July, when I was robbed in Houston. I've also spent 15 days in jail for the first time in my life. I'm 68 years old. I was arrested by the Austin Police Department for threatening to punch a 26-year-old man who called me a liar.
Why would he call you a liar?
Earlier in the shift, I had purchased a 12-ounce can of Coca-Cola for 79 cents. When he took over, the price of the Coke went to $1.59. When I told him 2 hours ago I paid 79 cents, he called me an effing liar, and I said I should jerk you over the counter and slap you in the face with your own hands. The police were called. I was asked if I was trespassed, which I had been earlier by the McDonald's, not by the convenience store. When he started to put the cuffs on me, I refused to answer any more questions, so he never got the details, and I spent 15 days in jail, the first 8, under the wrong name.
Do you think it would have gone different if you would have communicated?
Oh, absolutely, but he didn't want to listen. He wanted to arrest me.
I hear you, man.
So I told him to contact my attorney. I gave him the attorney's name, which I'll leave out right now. He's in Houston, Texas. And when he takes people's money, it's a hoot. And he knows who I'm talking about.
Do you think you could turn your hat backwards?
I can do whatever you want, sir. It's got a name on it. Does that make a difference?
How old are you?
68, sir. Born in 1957, July 3rd.
You've seen some stuff.
I've seen it all, except for the invention of the plane and electricity. Everything I've ever seen on a movie is true. Star Trek, when they first came out with flip phones, calling people. My first phone was a Nextel. I thought I was Captain Kirk.
Man, what the things that are going on in the world right now, and talking to people like you, is exactly what this channel needs.
It's big cities. It's in the middle of every city. They're restricting water flow to the sewer system. They're turning the general public against the homeless. When they restrict water flow in the sewer system, the urine smell and the feces smell stays. It doesn't get washed away. People in Houston are onto it. They have a big Nigerian man who can lift these water main lids. He loves to do it. They lift water mains and they bust them and they run them right down the drain so nobody sees them. And they'll run for hours and hours, and that block will become scent-free.
Wow. Why do you think people are disappearing right now?
I know why people are disappearing, because there are people in the world who can afford to buy people and do with them what they want.
And we're at a change in the administration right now. Do you think that has anything to do with it?
No, absolutely not. This is done way bigger. It's done by someone who, if you mess with them, they have no qualms about taking out your whole family.
And you've seen it in real time in Houston?
Yes, sir. I saw it in real time. I hung out with a lady named Alice. She was 26 years old. Her father was a multimillionaire from Cleveland, Ohio. She suddenly disappeared, and 4 days later, my friend Scott got a phone call from her. She was at home in Cleveland. She had been in Liberia. Her father paid $1 million to buy her back.
Man, wow. That's just basically ransom, right?
No. No, that was a purchase price. She was property.
Wow. Man,
Here's Lindsey Graham. It's an amazing clip. I don't. No one even noticed this. Watch this. This is Lindsey Graham describing his personal travel schedule and how often he's in Israel. Watch this.
Well, this is my 5th visit, I think, since October the 7th. Mm-hmm. I'm here for a reason, to show support to you, my good friend, the elected leader of the state of Israel. I'm here also to take on, and I will talk about this tomorrow, a form of blood libel in 2024. That the state of Israel is using starvation as a weapon of war.
It's like an infomercial. It's like a badly shot infomercial for like prostate health cures or something. Super Beats or something. Like, stand there. Well, Dr. So-and-so, it's like, it's unbelievable. He is doing PR for a foreign country. And even Netanyahu, he's a prime minister of another country, not our country, another country, looks a little bit embarrassed. Like, who is this weird kind of fawning guy? Is he going to touch my chest? I'm uncomfortable. You can feel that. But the whole point of Lindsey Graham being there, because he tells us is the point, is to defend Israel from unfair criticism on the internet. Is that his job as a U.S. senator? To be unpaid, and we're guessing about the unpaid part, but I do sense he'd do it for free. To be a PR shill for a foreign prime minister, not even really the nation, another politician who's not an American. What the hell is going on? And then he just admits out loud, this is my 5th trip to Israel since October 7th. 5th trip. So this was in March. So that's 5 months after October 7th. This is in March of 2024. October 7th was 2023. So 5 months, 5 trips to Israel. That's 1 trip to Israel a month. Is there any chance that Lindsey Graham has been in the, state capital of South Carolina, Columbia, once a month during that time? No, there's no chance. In fact, he hasn't. By the way, Lindsey Graham was that same year in Ukraine more often than he was in Columbia, South Carolina.
Democrats want you to forget all about the shutdown shellacking. So they're launching a smear campaign disguised as a bombshell. The Jeffrey Epstein emails. Congress is dumping thousands of documents, and Democrats are using them to frame Trump. But we've been combing through them and can't find anything nailing Trump. Even Axios says the emails contained no real smoking gun. The files do show Epstein's deep ties to liberals, like anti-Trump author Michael Wolff. He colluded with Epstein on how to blackmail Trump. Wolff told Epstein in 2015, if you should let him hang himself. If he says he hasn't been on the plane or to the House, then that gives you a valuable PR and political currency. Why is Wolff giving a pedophile PR advice and coaching him to take down the president? That wasn't the only writer Epstein colluded with. A New York Times reporter gave Epstein a heads up that a former cop was investigating him for a book. That reporter was pushed out of the company after they found he asked Epstein for a $30,000 donation. Larry Summers, who worked for Bill Clinton and Obama, was also pen pals with Epstein. He was asking him for tips on women. Who goes to Jeffrey Epstein for dating advice? Epstein didn't just have ties to the Democrats and the media. He had foreign connections. Before Trump met Putin in 2018, Epstein was pitching himself to the Kremlin, saying he could give Russia insight on Trump, which is weird because if the Kremlin was controlling Trump like the Democrats accused him, why did they need insight? He wasn't just any old rich American. He was well connected to top players all over the world, from Israel to Saudi Arabia. And it wasn't a secret. Epstein went to Clinton's White House 17 times. And Slick Willie was a frequent flyer on the so-called Lolita Express. Clinton and Epstein seemed like pals. But when it comes to Trump, Jeffrey had TDS. I have met some very bad people, none as bad as Trump. Not one decent cell in his body. Trump should wear that like a badge of honor. The slimiest guy in the world hating you is a good thing. Epstein even admitted Trump, quote, never got a massage. The same author Epstein colluded with even said this.
Epstein believed that it was Trump who first informed the police about what was going on at Epstein's house. And from that point on, they were nothing but bitter enemies.
So Trump dropped a dime on Epstein, but Democrats say they're best buds? And that Biden and Obama's DOJ had proof Trump was compromised, but waited 3 elections to keep it a secret? They arrested Trump over bookkeeping and want us to believe they had real dirt and didn't use it.
The Epstein files were in existence and free to have been opened during the Biden administration. You were there for 4 years. How come you didn't open it as a Democratic Party then? What am I missing?
Ghislaine Maxwell said Trump did nothing wrong. So have Epstein's victims and Epstein's lawyer. And none of these emails implicate Trump. So we're back to square one. Congress is playing games, holding fake votes to drop more files. But that's not going to happen because it's up to a judge and they won't release grand jury testimony. This is now looking more and more like a ploy to divide Republicans and smear the president. For a party that claims to care about affordability, they sure waste a lot of time on old emails. Primetime wants to get to the bottom of the Epstein saga more than anybody. We've been covering the story for years. But the story isn't about Trump. It's about foreign intelligence, blackmail, and cover-ups. Christopher Rufo is a senior fellow at the Manhattan Institute and host of the Rufo and Lomez podcast. All right, Chris, what does your gut tell you about what's going on here?
Look, I mean, Jeffrey Epstein is an increasingly and enormously powerful man, even in death. He is like a human hand grenade, and both sides, both camps, keep trying to toss him onto the other side and hoping that it explodes. But again and again, the evidence suggests that while Trump did know Epstein, he did party with Epstein on occasion, he wasn't involved in any of Epstein's crimes. And in fact, when he figured out what was going on, he banned Epstein from his Mar-a-Lago club and resort. And so the president, I think, had successfully established boundaries, and the Dems are just trying to agitate against him and trying to use whatever bits and pieces from these documents to get the president. But look, the president has been through a lot. He's been indicted. He's been arrested. He's been mugshotted. He's been shot through the ear. A couple of misrepresented snippets from these emails is not going to result in much.
How do you think the Republican Party is handling the Epstein situation?
I think the Republican Party, in part, has taken the bait, and there's this scrambling about the various bills and the court hearings. It's so convoluted, it's given the Democrats an opportunity to demagogue against it. But I think overall, the best policy is one of transparency. The more documents can be revealed, the maximum amount the courts can let loose to the public, I think that's better. And I think the evidence should, wherever it falls, it falls. The evidence thus far suggests that Trump had no involvement in the Epstein crimes. But I think certainly some very powerful people from all political persuasions and business and politics and academia and science are trying to keep these documents out of the public eye because, look, some very powerful and very well-known people were doing some very naughty things.
Yep, that's what it appears to be, too. All right, Chris, great work. Thank you so much.
We will not fund terrorism. We will not fund corruption. We will not fund anti-Semitism, and we will not fund anti-Americanism. The United Nations will hear loudly and clearly that President Trump's America First, Peace Through Strength agenda and record of results is back, and it is here to stay.